Welcome to Jurassic Park. We're only doing the first one. If you haven't noticed, I have a thing for compilations. So let's pop this bad boy open and get her out of the gate. Jurassic Park, the original movie from... what year did this come out? That doesn't matter. Based off the novel of the same name, which warns of the evils of science, which really has the question of just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. I know for a fact that Tim Burton was one of the other candidates to direct this movie, but Spielberg ultimately got it, and Spielberg ran away with it, using cutting-edge special effects to make one of the most beautiful movies ever made. The first time you see the dinosaurs, well, the genetic freaks, because that's really what they were. They were genetic abominations, not true dinosaurs. The first time you see them, the wonder, you can see it. Sam Neill, who plays Dr. Alan Grant, the wonder in his eyes, he conveys that childlike wonder of what it would be like for someone to see a real dinosaur. That childlike whimsy he has at times when seeing the creatures. It's truly amazing, but I'm getting ahead of myself to the story. On a small island called Isla Nebula, I believe it's called, there is a special park, a nature preserve, if you will, for rare animals that have been extinct for 65 million years. Due to the latest cloning technology, they have been brought back from DNA preserved in mosquitoes trapped in amber, which is of course impossible, as we now know. But that doesn't change the matter. Let's not get too science technical into this. Due to certain accidents, the Board Engine, the company that made it, are worried, so they want to get some experts in. They get Dr. Ian Malcolm, played by Jeff Goldblum, Chaos Fury guy. Sam Neill is Dr. Alan Grant, one of the leading paleontologists, and Statler, Dr. Statler, a paleobotanist. Basically, she studies extinct flora, as well as the lawyer, who's famous for being eaten on the toilet, though that would actually go to a different character in the book. The lawyer actually survives him. It's pretty badass in the book, actually. Anyway, they get there on the island, and just bad shit seems to happen. Basically, the whole island's supposed to be automated for convenience. And really, when you're running an underpaid staff who really don't know everything, from what Dennis Nerdley, a.k.a. the mailman from Seinfeld, what he says basically confirms. It's basically he's getting paid next to nothing to do way too much work. So he's jumping ship, and he's going to give it to the. He's going to basically do spy work. He's going to steal the embryos, and he's going to give them to the big competitor. And to do that, he has to shut down all the systems except for the raptor cage because he knows how dangerous they are. Along the way, after that happens, basically T-Rex gets loose, wreaks havoc. Slowly but surely, it leaves Dr. Alan Grant and John Hammond, the man who made the park, his two grandsons, Tim and Lexi. They're trapped out in the park, in the wilds of the park. The poor sucker on the toilet gets eaten, and the fat ass gets his just desserts by eaten by a juvenile diplodomus, or whatever the fuck it's called. So the whole time, they're trying to make their way back. They're trying to get the system started up. Samuel L. Jackson, his character, John Arnold. Of course, it was changed for... John was changed for this movie, but they changed it back by the second movie. He is trying to get the computers up, but he can't get through what nerdy guy did. And he didn't say the magic word. Anyway, they have to do a complete shutdown, which shuts down the raptor cage. Now, the raptors are led by the big ones. Now, there's actually an explanation for why the raptors are so vicious. Because they weren't raised in a pack environment, they don't know pack etiquette. So they're basically super intelligent sociopaths who have no pack mentality to them. They don't really... That's why they're cannibals. That's why they're insane. Because they don't know proper raptor etiquette. And they basically are loose. They kill Arnold when he goes to get the power on. So Statler and Muldoon, they go out to get him. Muldoon distracts the raptors and is most famous for being killed by the big one, the one that he was most wary of, and his dying words, "Clever girl." Statler gets the power back on, which of course electrocutes Tim. And then it's just a final confrontation at the final area with the Raptors before leaving the island. And yeah, wonderful movie. I love the movie. I love how wrong genetic engineering goes. The point of the matter is they weren't true dinosaurs. It was cheap genetics, and they cut corners, and they made the dinosaurs to how they were perceived at the time, so the T-Rex can't see. The Raptors are giants, and that's actually just mutations caused by the genetics. Really, all the explanations are beautifully explained in the books and in supplementary material. And again, you've got to gush over the special effects and John Williams' score. Mwah! Beautiful. It leads the tone of ambience. The swelling of the music when they first walk on screen. It's that beautiful thing, and it has its scary moments too. Like the children being stalked by the raptors in the kitchen. I believe that gotta move back is considered one of the scariest moments in cinema. This movie both terrified and fascinated me as a child because it took me to a place that I dreamed could be true, a place I wished was true. But at the same time, it showed you that having such a place be true is a horrible, horrible thing because you can't. It's primal and you can't control it. Statler even blatantly points this out to Hammond at one point, that your delusion of having control of this environment, that was an illusion. You don't have power over this place. I underestimated it. They chose to make all of the dinosaurs female, and because they were lazy with the genetics and put frog DNA in instead of, the more logical avian DNA, because even then we knew dinosaurs were related to birds. That allowed them to change their sex simultaneously. As Jeff Goldblum's character says, life always finds a way. And, throughout the movie, it's just the dangers of, just because you can, you shouldn't do it, And, to compare it to the books, there are other characters. The head geneticist gets killed. There's Eddie Riggs, who's a lot of his less admirable traits are passed on to the lawyer, who, as I said, was pretty fucking kick-ass. I'm trying to think if there are any other characters. The vet who appeared in that one scene with the Triceratops had a bigger role in the book. But again, I don't want to talk about the book. I want to talk about the movie, because the movie, again, it takes you to this place. And as a kid, it terrified me. Once the T-Rex got loose, I was done. No more watching. No more watching movie. And as for the actors, well, they all do a great job. Jeff Goldblum as Malcolm, especially when he's high on morphine, was truly beautiful. And his infamous "must go faster" lines as they're being chased by the T-Rex. Samuel Neal as Grant, and again, I said earlier, his childlike whimsy at points, and the whole time he's just like, yeah, this is, only when it comes to the predators is he wary, because he knows what they can do. Statler, as minor as she was, really good, and Tim and Lexi, the very good actresses. I mentioned, I think her name's Ariana something or other. I mentioned her in my Tremors review. That poor kid gets the worst of it throughout the entire movie. She gets sneezed on, she gets slobbered on, she gets covered in mud. This movie is, now that I'm older and it doesn't scare me, it is definitely my favorite of the trio. Lost World coming in second, and then the third one being the abysmal failure that I consider it. Again, the mixture of CGI, animatronics, and miniatures is amazing. The T-Rex, when it's attacking the Jeeps, that's a miniature, if I remember correctly, and the puppets, the puppetry work is amazing, and the advanced computer, they had to make and innovate completely new things in CGI, and they actually launched the CGI craze of the 90s, and this movie still even holds up compared to modern day CGI. I know, what the hell is that? I know they use the same computer engine for this for South Park for a while, and they basically said it's like building a sandcastle with a bulldozer. Again, oh, it's Ariana Richards. I see her right there. Michael Crichton, Crichton. I can't pronounce his name. The guy who wrote the original book. Richard Attenborough, I believe he was the guy who, I believe he's John Hammond, who in the book was kind of a jackass, but in the movie he has more of a Walt Disney-esque, you know, vibe about him. And I'm glad that they made those alterations to his character, because in the end he's a bit of a more likable character in the movie. He has his moments, but I like him better in the movie than I ever liked him in the book. I guess that's all I have to say. I've gushed about it enough.